I've actually seen people with 2,000, 3,000 followers make anywhere between like 30, 40, $50,000 a month on TikTok. You don't have to be a genius to make a lot of money. You just have to be early. I was going to school every day from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then from 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. I was working at Amazon. My mom called me one day and she said that she was having a surgery done. She needed help. She calls me because she thinks I'm making money, but I'm really not making that much money at my job. And I'm still not able to help her. That kind of was like the last straw for me. I was like, nah, like I gotta figure something out.
I'm intrigued with the opportunity on TikTok Shop and like being an affiliate. What is step number one?
The first thing that you're gonna wanna do is...
I was having a conversation with my producer just now, and we were looking at the analytics. 96.9% of you guys are not currently subscribed to the channel. Absolutely killing us. So if you want to get the best guests with the most inspirational stories, with incredible actionable advice that they can give you on how to grow your business or grow your life, please subscribe to the channel. It helps immeasurably.
I know even from our last conversation, like the number of businesses and things that you're working on. Can you quickly just explain to people, what is it that you do?
Yeah, so to be brief, pretty much I sell products online and then I help people get into selling products online. So I own a company called Ecom Degree University. We have over 20,000 students worldwide. I founded it back in 2018. And in that university, we teach people how to make money, whether it's Shopify, whether it's through Amazon. And recently we introduced TikTok Shop, which is blowing up crazy right now. So basically everything that I've learned in my about 7 years now in entrepreneurship and selling well over $30 million worth of product online, I pretty much pour that all into this program.
Yeah. I think one of the things that stands out about you is you're a great educator, like explaining it and breaking it down for people. You really excel at that. And we're going to get to the TikTok stuff, but here's actually really where I want to begin. I found a Facebook post that you did in 2020. So 4 years ago. And I want to read it out to you and then I just want to get your reaction to it. Mm-hmm. So here's how it goes. November 3rd, 2020. 3 years ago, around this exact time, I got arrested on a felony charge. I remember my mum crying because she couldn't afford the bail, and the bail bond companies were going to crush her with interest. I remember every year from 5 to 13 years old, switching schools and going from apartment to apartment with my mum and little brothers. I remember seeing my mum so stressed and feeling worthless because I could not do anything to help our situation. I remember working at Steak and Shake, Panera, QT, Cracker Barrel, Burlington, etc., and getting fired from every single one. I thought something was wrong with me. Why can't I be consistent and go to work every day like normal people? That's when I realized it's because I was never meant to be that person. I was always a hustler by heart, and wanting to give my mum the world has always been that chip on my shoulder that I needed to get past every obstacle I encountered on my e-commerce journey. And so you know what, when I read that, it sounds like to me in your story, entrepreneurship was almost like a form of survival. It was your way out. And so I want you to elaborate on that. Explain that to me. Like, what was this story with entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I never grew up wanting to be a business owner. I mean, when I was in like middle school, high school, like my plan was, you know what, I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna get a degree in computer science because, you know, I Google searched highest paying degree computer science popped up. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that. So I was gonna major in computer science, get a job, and just really my goal was to just be able to help my mom out. Because like I said, you know, from an early age, I watched my mom work very hard and not make a lot of money. So I understood that working hard doesn't equal making a lot of money. But I thought maybe if I could bring a second income, I could finally be able to help my mom get a house because she's never had a house until I bought her one because of entrepreneurship. So that was always my end goal. Before I decided to go to college, I was actually playing basketball in high school, and I thought that I was going to get a basketball scholarship. That didn't end up working out, and that's when I decided to, you know, pursue this computer science degree. But I had like a brief meeting with the advisor at the school, and they were kind of showing me the journey that I would have to go through to get this degree. And they were showing me all these math classes that I had to take. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not good at math. I don't think this is going to work out for me. And then plus, like, I think it's just common sense for me. I started really thinking about it, and I was like, do I really want to wait 4 years to be able to help my mom out? I don't think I want to do that. So I immediately started working. I got a job at an Amazon warehouse. And through working at that warehouse and through analyzing my environment, I kind of realized that a lot of these people have been working here for like 5, 10 years and they're still struggling. So it reminded me of what I already knew. I was like, wow, these people are working hard, but they're still not making a lot of money. So do I want to participate in this cycle too? No, I need to figure something else out. So for me, entrepreneurship wasn't like this thing that I wanted to do. It was kind of like common sense to me. It was like, okay, if I want to help my mom out, if I want to make a lot of money, if I want to make all these things that I'm saying I want to do actually come to fruition, I don't think getting a job that's paying me 10, 12, $15 an hour is going to get me there. And I actually also don't think that going to college for 4 or 5, 6 years and then hoping that I land a job is the right path either. I think that I actually have to go out there and learn a skill that's been proven to work and compensate well to other people. I think it's my job to go out there and learn this skill and make a lot of money in my own terms and on my own time. And that's what I did. I went on YouTube, started searching up how to make money. And I mean, I tried everything. I flipped iPhones on eBay. I started a moving company. I was doing affiliate marketing, like starting different websites. And then I got into Shopify. And that just seemed the most feasible to me because it just made sense to me how like I could list a product on my website for $20, get it from my supplier for 10, and then when people pay me, my supplier ships it to them and I make the difference, right? So that was just a business that made sense to me, and I was seeing all these young kids on YouTube killing it with this, and this was back in 2018. So I just pursued that, and I went a year without making any money, and then eventually I found a product and it popped, and then I never got a job again, and then that kind of started my entrepreneurial journey into getting into other things like Amazon, and then later taking that money and buying real estate and doing all the things that I do now.
Yeah. You know what? The sense of responsibility is interesting to me. It's interesting that a young kid at the time sees it as, and you even kind of said it, like it was my job to learn how to make money. And so I'm curious if you reflected on that and what your thoughts on that are. The fact that at such an early age, you saw it as your responsibility that like, I'm going to get my mum and our family out of this situation. Like, why was that?
I think it was more so, I never really thought about that, but I think it was more so the fact that I didn't have like my dad in my life. So we kind of didn't have like a father, like role model or like anyone to point us in the right direction. It was I kind of viewed the situation as, okay, my family's struggling. My little brothers are 5, 6 years younger than me. I'm the one that's about to enter the workforce. Like, if anything's going to change anytime soon, I have to be the one to do it. Because it's not like my mom is going to switch career paths, or it's not like my mom, has the capacity to take care of my two brothers and go start a business and do all this. So if anyone's going to change the situation, it's going to have to be me. And either I'm gonna have to do that, or I'm gonna have to just be okay with, letting my family struggle and hoping that maybe my brother can do something. Because we don't have like a dad that's gonna save us or like someone that's gonna save us. It's like we either got to do something, or this current situation that we're living in is gonna be our reality forever. And that's how I looked at it. So I just put it upon myself to figure out how I can get my family out of this situation. And through seeing these videos on YouTube and then actually going to networking events and meeting people that were actually doing business and making a lot of money, it became real to me. And once I met someone in person that was making money online, I knew that I could do it too. Because what someone else is doing, you can do too. We're all human. And I just knew that the only thing stopping me from getting those results was the information gap. And that's when I became obsessed with learning. Because I was like, wow, the only reason this person's making $100K a month and I'm broke is because he has information that I don't have. So if I could learn what he knows, I could be making the same amount of money. And that's literally all it is. Most people are levels above us just because they have like a slither of more information than we do. And it's actually scary because we only know what we know. And what's out there that we don't know could completely change our life like that. So that's why I'm obsessed with like learning and just, just obsessed with information.
What's interesting? I think when you don't come from like a rich or successful background, right? So you don't have parents that like they have millions of dollars and then their friends have millions of dollars and even your school friends are like rich. I think a lot of the times we pedestalize wealth
Yeah.
and people that become successful, and we almost think that they're fundamentally different from us.
Right.
Like there's something that they understand or some skill set which is unique to them that we can't replicate. And so you said something interesting, which is like, once you had that realization that it was all about the knowledge gap, that you could do it too if you acquired the knowledge. Like that moment is powerful.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so can you speak about that moment? Like what was the spark for that realization?
I think it was more so just exposure. Like one of my favorite quotes is like, you can only grow to what you've been exposed to. And for the longest, it's like you said, I didn't grow up around other like rich people. It was pretty much like all of my friends were kind of in the same situation too. Like we're all struggling. We're all kind of just getting by. We're all just, trying to go to college because that's what we thought was the next step. Nobody was doing anything like entrepreneurial or trying to start a business or trying to make more money. We were all just working regular jobs. So I think like I saw that as like normal life. And then it wasn't until I dropped out of college and I started my first business with one of my business partners. His name is Drew Evans, and he lived on like the other side of Georgia from where I was living, like the richer side. And it's actually like one of the richest counties in Georgia. And I started hanging out with him, and he would take me to like his friends' houses and stuff. And I remember going over to the first friend's house that he took me to, and it was like crazy mansion. I'm talking to their parents, and their parents are always home. They're always present because they have businesses that are just automated, just running. And I'm like, this is crazy. And then he took me to another friend's house, and it was same thing, like big mansion, lake house. And I was like, wow, like this is normal to them. Like all of his friends are like rich. All of his friends are doing, all of his friends' parents are doing something big. And I was like, it's crazy how it's so different. Like this place is 30 minutes away from where I lived, but the reality for these people over here is way different than the reality for the people over here. And as I started talking to like the parents of these kids and stuff, I realized that they all own businesses. It was like one guy owned a flooring company. One guy had a landscaping company. One guy had an online business. And it's like, dang, all these people, they own businesses. Like they're creating income. They're using leverage to make money. They're not trading their time for money. And that's when it all kind of became like to make sense for me.
You know, one of the things you said was powerful, even as you were just kind of listing off some of the things that those parents had, is the parents always being home.
Yeah.
Like, and it's interesting because for the first like 10, 12 years of my life, I grew up with my mum and my older brother. And my mum was always like working to like support the family. And so you build this appreciation of just like seeing your parent at home.
Right.
It seems like the smallest thing, but it's actually a big thing.
Yeah, you appreciate that, and then also psychologically, we don't notice it, but we start to kind of think that it's normal to work all day, and that's how you make a living. So when we grow up, we think it's normal to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week because that's all we saw growing up. And a lot of people, like, because they've only been exposed to that, they think that's normal. And you don't have to live life that way. And it's crazy because it's literally like if you're just exposed to how other people are living and how other people are making income, it'll change like how you think completely.
Yeah. You know what? We spoke a bit earlier about the sense of responsibility, of feeling like you had to make money for like the family, which is, especially at a young age, it's like a heavy burden to hold. And I'm curious if there was ever a sense of just hopelessness. And the reason I say that, and I want to read out this line again, I remember working at Steak and Shake, Panera, QT, Cracker and Barrel, Burlington, and getting fired from every single one. Those are like 5 or 6 different jobs. Like, was there ever a sense of, I'm just not going to get it done? Like, it's not going to happen. Like, what were some of those early struggles?
So while working those jobs, I realized like one, I didn't like being told what to do from people. I didn't like being told what to do because I knew the people that were in charge weren't smarter than me. But because they had a higher position than me, they were able to fire me. They were able to talk to me certain ways. And I just didn't like that, number one. Number two, I didn't like the fact how I was being treated. and how like what I was getting paid. So from like an early age, I kind of knew like, I'm a terrible employee. So working for someone just isn't going to work for me. Like I'm gonna have to find out another way to make money. And so it kind of sparked when I was younger, but I didn't actually put in any action until I got that Amazon warehouse job after I graduated high school. Because I think people, they don't make moves towards achieving something great until they're either inspired or they're literally just desperate, like back against the wall. And for me, it took my back being against the wall for me to actually start taking action towards getting something done and doing something in business.
Yeah. You know what? Go deeper into that. Like, take me to that moment. Like, what was the back against the wall?
Yeah, so for me it was, so on top of like seeing my mom struggle pretty much all my life, when I graduated from high school, the day I graduated from high school, my mom and my little brothers moved to Ohio because they just couldn't afford to live in Georgia anymore. It's cheaper in Ohio. So they moved over there. My mom thought that I was just going to stay and go to community college. And I had an uncle that was living in the same county as me, and he was letting me stay at his house. So I was staying like in the guest room of his house, and I was going to school every day from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then from 6 p.m. to 4 a.m., I was working at Amazon. So my life was literally just school and then work and then wake up and then do it all over again. And it completely drained me. Like I gained a lot of weight because I was only eating bad foods. I wasn't going to the gym because I literally barely had any time to like do anything. I lost my social life. I didn't talk to my friends or anything like that because I was just all work. And it got to the point, and I didn't have a car either. So like half of my checks were going into Uber to get to school, and then from school, Ubering to get to work. And the warehouse that I was working at was like 40 minutes away from where I lived. And it got to a point where I was like, I can't live life like this. And what made me more depressed is I would see the people that I was working with, and that was their reality. Like they had been there for 5, 6, 7 years. And I've only been there for like a month or two, and I've always been like a long-term thinker. I'm like, nah, like I got to get out of here like immediately. Even though I need an income, like I can't be here. I can't be in this environment. So, and then at the same time, my mom, I remember a specific moment. My mom called me one day, and she said that she was having a surgery done, and she needed help like paying for the surgery, and I didn't have enough money to help her. And I remember that moment just being real big for me because I was like, dang, I don't ever want to not be able to help my mom again. Like I haven't been able to help her this long, and then she calls me because she thinks I'm making money, but I'm really not making that much money at my job, and I'm still not able to help her. That kind of was like the last straw for me. I was like, nah, like I got to figure something out. So as I was working, that's when I started doing my research on YouTube and just trying out all these side hustles because I knew that to gain wealth and to make a lot of money, it would have to be from a business. Like I wasn't gonna do anything working at this job. And eventually I started making money online through the things that I was learning on YouTube. And as soon as I made my first dollar online, I got another job at LA Fitness and I quit my Amazon job. So I went from making like $12 an hour at Amazon to making like $10 an hour or like $9 an hour at LA Fitness, but I had more time now. So instead of working from 6 p.m. to 4 a.m., I was working from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and I could focus, and I dropped out of school. So I completely got out of school, got the LA Fitness job, and now I had all of my afternoon and night to focus on this e-commerce business. And that's eventually how I was able to completely stop working because my online business started taking off.
Yeah. You know what I think is really interesting? You mentioned it even with your mom, which was like, from watching your mom struggle and working so much growing up, you started to realize that hard work doesn't equal wealth. And as I was just listening to you speak now, the word that came to my mind is like space. And the reason I say space is I think a lot of people, and I've been in this situation, and sometimes it gets like this even with this business for me, it's like you just don't have enough like thinking space in your life. And so when you explain, like I was going to school and then straight as I got home from school, I'm then working. And it's like, there's not even any time for thought to like plot an escape, to like think long term. How can you think long term if every hour of your day is like occupied? And so it's interesting that like once you started to create that space in your life and even taking the pay cut, right, of going from what you were earning at Amazon to the LA Fitness was like it started to just give you time in your day that you could even plot like these more longer term
Yeah.
visions. And I think that part of the story is severely underrated of like step one, just create space. Like create space so that something good can happen. You
Right.
know
And
what?
it's
Go ahead.
understanding opportunity costs too, because like some people they won't be willing to take a pay cut to make millions of dollars later. Some people aren't willing to, and a lot of times it's ego. A lot of times it's putting your ego to the side and being like, look, I'm getting paid more here, but I'm gonna actually have more time if I go over here. And, even though I'll get paid less, I'll have more time to focus on something else. And I say this all the time, like remove the ego and you'll add some zeros because a lot of people let their ego get in the way of making a lot of money.
Mm,
They put their pride, if you put your pride to the side, you'll make a lot more money. And that's what I had to do a lot of times.
mm. You have any, when you say that, is there an experience that comes to mind that kind of crystallizes that for you? Because I think especially as like men, like young men, like the ego is always there.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like trying to keep it in check, but sometimes it goes over the edge and it does start to be detrimental. Like, is there an experience that you think back to where it was like the ego was like getting the best of me in that situation?
I mean, for me, it's like one, I've always been a very introverted person. So I've always kind of kept to myself. And I've always been a competitor too, playing sports. So I did have like ego issues. But I understood that the thing that I wanted most in life was to be able to buy my mom a house. And I knew that I didn't have the skills or capabilities or the information to be able to do it at the current time. So I had to put my ego to the side and seek help. As men, we don't really seek help. We think it's corny or we think like it's just not a manly thing to do. So I put my pride to the side and I started going to networking events and literally just pulling up to the networking event. And I remember the first networking event that I went to, we had a card. You would get a card when you walked in and you would write down what you currently do and then what you're like looking for. And I remember going and literally in where it says, what do you currently do? I wasn't doing anything. So I literally wrote, look, right now I have a job at LA Fitness and I'm just looking to be a sponge. I just want to learn from all of you guys because I want to get out of my current situation. And I know that I can benefit from learning from people that are better than me or that are doing more than me. And that's all I had to offer. And it's like, if you guys need help with anything, all I have is time. So that's what I have to offer is literally just time and hard work. And that helped me tremendously because at that networking event, that's where I met my first business partner who was making money online. He was actually the host of the event. And I started my first online business with him. And even to this day, like I still put my ego to the side. Every single time I meet someone that's doing better than me or they know a skill that I don't know or they know something that I want to know, I'm quick to ask them like, yo, how can I learn from you? Like, how much do you charge to learn this? Like, how can I learn more from you? I'm big on paying for courses, paying for mentorships because it's what allowed me to level up in life. And I think it's, time traveling isn't real, but it is. Because what took someone 10 years to master, you might be able to learn it in 30 minutes. And to me, that's time traveling. I'm a
Yeah.
big advocate of that.
Yeah. That's a sick line. That's a sick bar. Time travel isn't real, but it is. I like that. I like that. Okay, one of the things that you mentioned earlier, so you realize that you're like a hustler. Like that's your thing. Like you're not meant to work a job. And even for people listening, I think there's a lot of people in that spot where
Yeah.
they're like, in order to achieve and meet their ambition, they know that they need to have a business.
Right.
Now, having that realization and then actually building a successful business is two different things. And it was interesting because even when we spoke like before today, one of the things that you mentioned was like those initial stages of building like the first business that you were doing was so like fucking difficult.
They're brutal.
So difficult. And so can you speak to that? Like, what were some of the difficulties that you were feeling at that time when it came to building a business?
Well, one, it was more so the biggest thing was I didn't know anybody that was doing what I was trying to do. So I couldn't look at anyone and be inspired by them, or I couldn't look at anyone as a proof of concept. And that was broken when I went to that networking event and I met my first business partner, and he was actually making money online. And he was able to show me, like, look, bro, I'm making money on the internet. And that was the hardest thing for me. Once I actually met him and I found someone that was actually doing it and I had that proof of concept, everything else became easier. But that actually was the only thing that was hard. Because once I actually met someone in person that was doing what I was seeing on YouTube, because on YouTube, everything just seems sweet. It's like, yeah, he could be telling the truth, but he could not be. You never know. So it's like when you meet someone in person that's doing it, it just hits different. And for me, once I had that proof of concept, I understood that, this is real and I just have to make it work. And I don't care how long it's going to take me. Like, it's going to work, or like it has to work, or it has to work. That was pretty much my mindset. And I literally went a year not making any money. I went a year, I probably tested over 50 products. All of them failed. And my mindset was always like, okay, the next one's going to hit. The next one's going to get me out. Like, I never gave up on the vision because I knew the alternative. It was either I make this work or I go back and get a job and I don't fulfill on any of the things that I said I was going to do. So it's like, if that's your alternative, like, why would you stop?
Yeah. It goes back to what you mentioned earlier. Like, people are driven, like at the intense level, like people are driven either by desperation or inspiration.
Yeah.
You know what, just for context for people, explain what was, when you say making money online, like what was the business at that early point? Like, what was it that you were doing?
Yeah, so the first business I started was I started a distance bracelet store, basically. So I was selling a product called the distance bracelet, which is a white beaded bracelet with one black bead on it, and it was a black beaded bracelet with one white bead on it. It was like a relationship product. So like the girlfriend would wear one, boyfriend would wear one, and it was just trending on the internet. And I created a Shopify store. I put that product on my store, and it was selling for like $2 on AliExpress, which was one of my suppliers overseas. And I just listed it on my website for free, but my shipping was $10. So I was running a free plus shipping model, and we were able to do over 6 figures with that one product. And, I tell people all the time, like, you don't have to be a genius to make a lot of money online. You just have to be early. And I was early in the Shopify dropshipping days. Like, if you look at my ads that I was making, my ads were terrible. Like, I had an ad of just the product and like emojis, and then it said swipe up at the bottom. Like, they were terrible. Like, they would not work today. And I've been able to make a lot of money because I've been early in a lot of things. I was early with the Shopify dropshipping, made a lot of money there. Later transitioned into Amazon during COVID, made a lot of money there. I was early again. And then, I know we're going to touch on the TikTok stuff too, but right now it's like, it's early for that too. And even when it comes to crypto, I turned $2,000 into $3 million with NFTs. I didn't even know what an NFT was really when I made that money, but I was early. So it's like, you don't have to be a genius to make a lot of money. You just have to be early.
You know what I feel like is a good way to put it? It's like early and execute. Because a lot of people are actually aware of the thing early, but they don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like you execute very quickly on what needs to be done.
Right. And even if you're not early, you just have to be better. But being early allows you to not have to be as good as the people that enter the market later. Because, for example, Shopify dropshipping and Amazon and all that stuff still works, but you just have to be better now to make it work.
I want to get into the TikTok stuff and the opportunity there. Before we do, you mentioned something which is the reason why it was so difficult in the initial stages of starting a business is that there wasn't someone that you knew that you could almost like kind of model what you were doing off. And so you mentioned meeting like your first business partner and him kind of being the inspiration. What was it that you were observing? Like what was it in that first year that you were seeing him do that kind of, it made things click? Like what specifically was it?
It was more so that it was just a guy from this kind of the same side of town as me. He was the same age as me, and he was making money in a way that I had never seen before because everyone else I knew other than him was just working a regular job. So that was so seeing him was me realizing for the first time in my life that a young kid like me could make money in a non-traditional way and make a lot of money in a non-traditional way. So that was really the biggest thing for me. And then even through meeting other people at that networking event, I met someone that owned a restaurant and he was like 25, 26. And to me, like being a business owner was such a kind of like a far-fetched thing because I just had never really met any business owners. And when I met him, he started telling me like, yo, you need to read this book, you need to read that book. So I started reading books. I started reading Think and Grow Rich. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I remember specifically reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad and learning about leverage. And that was like a big thing for me. I remember in one of the pages of that book, he says something like, the person that's making the most money in the gym, when you go to the gym, is a person that's not there. And he's talking about the gym owner. And for some reason that like lit a light bulb in my head. I was like, wow, he's right. Like the gym owner is never at the gym, but he makes the most money and it's because he has the most leverage. So just, learning things like that, I became obsessed with business.
No, that's good. That's good. And it's interesting because Alex Hormozy has this thing where he says, if you haven't reached a certain money number, so whether that's making like 10,000, 100,000, a million, whatever the number is, it's usually because of two reasons. It's either skills or belief. And a lot of the times we focus on skills, right? Like people want to get better at sales or marketing or, data analytics, whatever the thing is. The thing that we often ignore are the beliefs, especially the limiting beliefs. And so when you're around certain people, you start to become kind of used to it. Like you start to think like, I really can do this too. Like that belief is building. Okay, you know what? Let's move into TikTok. And when we spoke before this, you said something that was really interesting to me. You said what's happening right now with TikTok Shop is almost reminiscent of those early days with like drop shipping and e-commerce and the opportunity. And so I think it's exciting for people and I want to get into it. To begin, what is TikTok Shop? Like just explain kind of the background to it.
Yeah, so TikTok Shop is just TikTok's marketplace. So it's kind of like Amazon, but on TikTok. So TikTok has, billions of users. And they did a study that actually 40% of the users on TikTok shop on TikTok Shop. So 40% of the users have bought something on TikTok Shop. And another data point is right now Americans are spending $7 million a day on TikTok Shop. So it's just like a big marketplace that TikTok has where brands that we all know, like C4, Essentia, like these big billion-dollar brands, they can place their products on TikTok Shop just like how they place their products on Amazon and their websites, etc. And what's interesting is TikTok Shop isn't just an opportunity for brands to get a lot of exposure to their products, but it's a huge opportunity for people like me and you who maybe we don't have a big brand, we don't have a product to sell, but we can be affiliates of these brands that are selling something on TikTok. So like, let's say, for example, this mic, like you have a Shure mic right here. That's a good brand. They probably have this mic on TikTok Shop because all big brands, they have their products on there because it's free exposure to them. You could simply make a video of you sitting in this chair using this mic, talking about why you like this mic and talking about why you use this mic for this podcast. And then you can tag this product under your TikTok video. And every sale you make from that video, you'll get a commission. And let's say Shure's paying a $5 commission on every sale. You get 1,000 sales, you just made a lot of money. And the cool thing is TikTok actually pushes all of the videos that have a product tag to them because they want you to make money because they'll make money too. They get a percentage. So it's just like, it's literally the digital gold rush. Like I've seen kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old make videos about the most random things like vitamin D3. There's a colon cleanser on TikTok, or their favorite energy drink, and make 10, 20, 30,000 off one video. And it's literally like digital real estate because once that video starts making money, it doesn't really stop making money. Like it'll keep getting views and people will keep buying over time. So it's like every video you post is like a rental property.
That's a good way to put it. And You know what? I was actually speaking with a friend. He's like a creator on TikTok. He spends like a lot of time on it. Has like a few 100,000 followers on TikTok.
Nice.
And I was getting him just to break it down to me, like, what is the significance of TikTok Shop? And he basically said it removes the friction between content and product.
Yeah.
So if you think about like Instagram, for example, right? A lot of people or creators, when they're trying to market products, will do like the link in bio. But even with the link in bio, there's so many like steps between someone clicking on that and checkout.
Right.
Whereas on TikTok Shop, it's like so seamless, the experience of seeing the product in the video to checkout.
Right.
And because it's so seamless, it's like it leads to way more
Yeah.
sales.
And it also removes the friction of being an affiliate. Because like, let's say, for example, we always see people on social media that they might be like a Gymshark sponsor or like an Alpha Elite sponsor, or they might be sponsored by some type of brand. And usually to acquire those sponsorships and to be able to be affiliates of those brands, you need very big social media followings. But now with TikTok Shop, anyone can be an affiliate. You could have 1,000 followers, and if you really like a product, you can be an affiliate for that product on TikTok Shop and make tens of thousands of dollars. So it's brought the playing field to an easy level for everybody.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, let's get deeper into the tactics of how people can do it and kind of leverage the opportunity right now. So let's say this, because I think most of the people that are on TikTok or social media in general are consumers. So they purely go on there to like watch content.
Right.
And so let's say that I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this and I'm a consumer. Like I'm on TikTok, I'm active on it, I'm engaging with content. I'm not really producing anything, but I'm intrigued with the opportunity on TikTok Shop and like being an affiliate. What is step number one? Like, do I need to become a master content creator? Is it about finding the right product? Like when you're speaking with people, where do you advise them to start?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing that you're going to want to do is there's this website called Kalo Data. So it's KALO data.com. And it's a product research tool for TikTok. So when you go on there, it'll show you like the top 10 products that are selling on TikTok Shop, but it'll also show you the top 10 creators. And what that allows you to do is, one, it allows you to know what's trending on TikTok, like what are people buying? And it also lets you know, okay, what creators are killing it and what videos are they posting that are working. So like I might be able to click on a creator on Kalo Data and it'll show me the exact video that they're using to make over whatever they're making, 10, 20, 30K a month. And now you're able to mimic that video. And even in Kalo Data, you can even download the video script. Like it'll give you the transcript of everything they said on the video. And it gets crazier because now what you can do, like let's say you're an introverted person, you don't really want to be on camera. You can use tools like, for example, 11 Labs, which is an AI voiceover tool. And you can download the script from Kalo Data and just put it into 11 Labs. And now you have a voiceover of that script. And if you want to change it up, you can take that script, put it into ChatGPT and get a completely new one, put it into 11 Labs, and now you have a voiceover. You go to Midjourney, which is another AI tool, and now you have pictures for the video. And you literally just created an AI generated video that can make you money on TikTok without having to show your face. And like I personally know people that are doing 100, 200 grand a month without showing their face, just AI generated videos on TikTok promoting different products.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Let's go deeper into it. So I go to Kalo Data and I can see like the top 10 products that I was selling on TikTok for that day.
Yeah.
From a strategic perspective, do I almost want to exactly copy what's happening with those best-selling products? Because I can almost see both sides of the argument, right? I can see it as these products already have demand and like are selling, so they're kind of they're legitimized in that way.
Right.
But then I can also see the other side, which is like kind of what you were talking about earlier when you spoke about being early to something,
Right.
which is like the value is in the thing that not many people are doing.
Right.
And so what is kind of the mindset there? Like, am I hunting for a product that's popular but not too popular? Am I just going after the one that's like number 1, 2, and 3 on that list? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely still try to advertise the products that are super popular because TikTok has a very very like monkey see, monkey do mentality, where it's like if a product is trending crazy, even though it's very popular, people will still buy it like every single day. I think like the number one hottest product on TikTok right now is doing like 200K a day in sales with all the creators that are promoting it. So I mean, there's always going to be room for another person to make money, several people to make money. But there's also a feature in Callow data where you can see like the things that are on the rise. And obviously, if you catch something that's on the rise and you're the person that makes the best video for it, you'll make a lot of money. And there's also the strategy of, you know, not even paying attention to what's trending, but also just making videos on products that you actually use and products that you actually like. Because then you can make a very like transparent, authentic video that could hit the algorithm and do well for you too. And on top of that, you know, you don't have to be like a crazy content creator, because TikTok Shop does boost every single post that has a product attached to it.
Yeah. You know, one other thing that my friend mentioned, he said, if you actually look at a lot of the kind of like top selling products, and this is why it's important to also understand like who is the audience of not only the content, but then the product. He was like, it's a lot of products that are kind of like targeted towards women.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the significance of like almost understanding the demographic of who you're trying to hit?
Yeah.
Because I can imagine people being like, it kind of needs to be a fit with who you are, like with how you can even tell the story and like produce the content. Like, can you actually hit that audience?
Right. I mean, it just depends what strategy you're using. I mean, for sure, they're more emotional buyers than men. And when it comes to selling products on like a short form, like media platform like TikTok, women are probably going to buy more than men, because men might need more than 10 seconds to think about whether they want something or not. Whereas like a girl might see something and want it and she'll just immediately buy it. So that is a good strategy to use if you want to do that. But also, it doesn't really matter like what your personality is or what it is that you like if you're just trying to make money on TikTok. Like I'll give you an example. There's a product that's trending right now, and it's like a back massager. It's like you just put it on you like this, massages your back. And Kai Cenat was actually using it on stream, and there was someone that just clipped the stream and then threw text on the top and then tagged the product on the bottom. And that video, because it's a clip from Kai Cenat's stream, got like 2 million views, and he's printing like 5K a day right now. Didn't show his face, didn't even talk about the product. He just clipped a stream where someone was using the product, and he's able to profit off of it now.
Yeah, you know, I want to go deep into the content angle of it, and I think one thing, you know, even from the first episode that we did, I know that you like really understand content, and like how to do content that not only can go viral and like intrigues people, but can also lead to sales.
Right.
And so when you kind of see what's happening right now on TikTok, what is the content, like what is great content that can also lead to sales? Because I can see people doing things which is like, it gets views, but no conversions.
Right.
So what is kind of the differentiator where it's like, not only are you going viral, but you're displaying the product in a way that people actually want to buy it?
Yeah, so in TikTok, it's more so if you're going to create an AI generated video, usually like the more funny videos will do better on the algorithm, but you can't be like hard selling it too much. The videos that do the best on TikTok Shop are very like authentic and genuine. And the most important part is the hook. If you don't have a good hook, then your video is not going to go viral. So if you have a good hook, your video is going to get a lot of views, but you also can't like hard sell the product. You have to kind of like ease your way into it, or talk about the product in a way where you're not making it seem perfect, but you're making it seem like it's a good product that you should get, depending on like the demographic.
Can you almost explain the basics of content creation? Like when you say a hook, for example, like what is that? What is a good hook? What's a bad hook? Like what's the significance of it?
Yeah, really just any like the first 3 seconds of the video would be considered, I guess, the hook. So any line that you could put there that would create some curiosity or would get the audience to want to watch more of the video would be a good hook. And again, you can use AI to help you with this, because I mean, I'm sure like you guys watching, you may not be like a copywriter or like someone crazy with content, but you have ChatGPT at your access, you know. So you can literally go on ChatGPT and type in, you know, hey, I'm selling this product. what would be a good hook, a 3-second hook that I could use in my video script, and then it'll print out all these hooks that you can use, and then now you have a hook. Yeah.
And to bring it to you, because like I said, you're effective at doing it. What were kind of like, how did you get good at producing content? Because I think for a lot of people, it's not like a natural thing to like just turn on a camera and like be able to speak for like 30 seconds and 60 seconds and it's interesting.
Right.
So like, what was that process for you personally of getting incrementally better at like making these videos?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was really bad at it, and it literally just took repetition. Like, I was really bad at it before I became good at it. And I just over time, like if you go on my YouTube channel and you watch my oldest video from like 6 years ago, like it's terrible. I can barely talk on camera. So for me, it just took time. I think with TikTok, it's a lot easier because the videos are a lot shorter and you don't have to show your face on it, which I think most people, they don't do good on video because they're insecure maybe about how they look on video. But if you don't actually have to show your face, then that changes a lot of things. If you have a script and you know exactly what to say and you're reading it, that also changes a lot of things from like going off the cuff, off the dome on what you're going to say on the video. So it's a different style on TikTok for sure. But for me, yeah, I started recording longer form videos 6 years ago, and they just got better over time, just through repetition. You know, I really don't think there's anything that can cheat like consistency. Just doing something like over and over and over again.
Was there anyone that you looked at? I'm just thinking back to what you were mentioning in the beginning, that the business, like even when you first started your business, the success kind of came when you had that person who was like the inspiration that you could look to, that was like the model. When it comes to content creation, was there a person for that?
When it came to content, for like my style content, I looked at people like, I really admired Ty Lopez's videos. Simply because all of his stuff was off the cuff. Like all of his stuff was just like this or like this. And he's talking no edits. And he would get he had over 1 billion views on an ad. So I was like, dang, like how can this guy just go off the cuff off this and just like know all of, like he would just pull quotes from everywhere, from like different books and just memorize all that stuff. But I understood that comes from repetition. Like, there's no way that you can cheat your way to that.
Yeah.
You know, so I tried to like mimic his style content.
Yeah. You know what? I really like that point. I know that we hear a lot of times like people say the consistency thing, but it can't be underestimated. Like a lot of the people that it's very difficult to be at an elite level naturally at a skill. Like most people that you're seeing that are at the forefront, like if they're selling the most product or they're getting the most views, they've had some sort of exposure to doing the thing. Like they've been doing it.
Right.
Even like rappers, music artists that you see that are at like the top of the charts, they've been making songs since they were kids. Like it didn't just happen overnight.
And if you listen to their old songs, they're trash. And
Yeah.
they'll tell you that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember hearing an interview with Drake, and they were asking him, like, if you listen to some of like the earlier Drake songs, the way that he would like enunciate his words and shit was completely different.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times, like, we see the finished product, like we see the person who's successful, who's like the finished article, but you don't see all of the steps before that where like they're recording and I've done this, they've had to record the same bit like 30 times because they can't get the words right. And they deleted the 29 and you saw the 30th and were like, oh my God, they're just naturally incredible at video. It's like not the case.
Yeah. I saw something on Twitter like that where someone posted like Iman Ghazi's like raw footage.
Oh yeah,
he just like kept messing up over and over and over and over again because that's how it be. But then when you watch like his YouTube videos, it's just like flawless, like the whole time, just smooth.
Yeah.
And it's like reality versus like what you actually see, like the end production.
Yeah. No, it's such a good point. Okay, you know what? Let's break it down in terms of how someone can start to see success in this in the TikTok affiliate. If I'm looking to start making like my first $10,000 doing this, I'm curious, like, what does my life look like on the day-to-day of producing these videos for TikTok? Like, am I doing like 10 videos a day and then one is hitting? Like the people that you've seen that are successful,
Yeah.
like what is their routine? Like what is it that they were doing to get to that first kind of like 10K a month pretty regularly?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this business, I would say quality is better than quantity, and just making sure that your video is actually good. And when I say good, I'm not talking about highly edited or like highly like high production, nothing like that, because that actually doesn't really do well on TikTok. Like the more authentic it looks, the better. But just making sure that you have a good hook on these videos, making sure that you're giving, some type of value in these videos, that matters the most. So like really getting your script right if you're making the video yourself, or if you're using ChatGPT and AI to make the video, still doing your due diligence and making sure that the script is good and that the video looks good. But obviously the more you post, the higher chances you have of making money. But it's like just like a balance of quality and quantity. But I would say posting like 3 to 5 videos a day is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, and to be fair, like I think for someone that's like, they're not even in the position where they're really making videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
3 to 5 videos a day, that's like a quantity of content. And to be honest, it's actually a good thing as well because of what we were speaking about earlier, which is the more repetitions you get,
Yeah.
you'll get better at the craft.
Yeah, and it's like 3 to 5 videos a day that are like 30 seconds long. And I'm only saying do 3 to 5 a day until one of them pops off. Because once one of them pops off, now you can make different variations of that video because you know that concept works. But it's kind of like when in my early Amazon days and even Shopify days, I would be testing a bunch of products. And, it was work. I'm not going to lie. I was working, testing all these products. But then eventually when one product would hit, one product would work, it's like my life became a lot easier. It's like, okay, this product's selling and it's selling every day and I'm making money from it every day. And now I kind of just optimize. It's kind of the same thing with TikTok Shop too.
You know what's interesting when you speak, and I see it because this is an interesting seat for me, being able to speak with the people that I do and ask the questions. You start to see like a common trait is just how much volume of work that they put out. And so I think like a key difference between the person that is successful at the thing and the person who's getting very little results is usually the person with very little results isn't putting out what you mentioned, like a lot of experiments, a lot of tests.
Right.
They're overthinking every single thing that they put out. Every bit of output is overthought.
Yeah, because it's like if and Hormozy talks about this too, it's like if you know that you're going to be trash at the beginning, you might as well like get it over with, like, and get the beginning stages over with and go ahead and post all this garbage basically, because you're going to get better over time rather than overthinking something and then posting it and it's still not being your best work. Because obviously your first video isn't going to be your best work. Like you're going to post and then 90 days from now, you're going to look back. And even if you made money off those videos, you're going to be like, dang, those videos were trash.
And so it's almost, and let me know if you agree with this, but it's almost for the person that's starting to produce those TikTok videos, it's like, see that inspiration or take that inspiration from people that are successful at doing it.
Yeah.
But then make your iteration of it and then post.
Yep.
And like just really quick on that
don't
process.
think about it because it's like, it's different. TikTok is a different platform than, let's say, Instagram. People won't post 3 to 5 times a day on Instagram because they might be like, oh, it's going to mess up my feed, or like, oh, I don't want to like spam my followers. But TikTok's a discovery platform. You could have 100,000 followers, post 10 times in a day, and your followers may not even see any of those posts because TikTok pushes it to people that don't follow you. So you don't have that to worry about. And that's better for you too, because again, your videos have a higher chance of going viral. I've actually seen people with 2,000, 3,000 followers make anywhere between like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month on TikTok. And it's because even though they don't have that many followers, their videos are good and their videos are getting millions of views, selling different products.
So it sounds to me like kind of what you're looking for is you're posting the volume, so the 3 to 5 videos a day. Say that over a 2-week period. I don't even know what the math is on that. If I'm doing, what's that like? You've posted like 70, 75 videos?
Yeah, like 7, yeah.
Yeah. One of those goes viral. I'm assuming that one viral video is leading to the majority of your sales. Is that kind of what you're seeing
Yeah, it's
people
gonna bring like 90% of your revenue.
Okay. So it makes sense then why it's like you need the volume because you're giving yourself more opportunity to get lucky in a way, like to get
Right.
that video. That's
You're
the
giving
outlier.
you're giving yourself more opportunity for that video to hit the algorithm and then just get like a cash influx.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of just focus on what went right with that video. Like what hook did you use? What did the script look like? What product were you selling? And you can kind of just mimic it and make it over and over again.
So when you're doing your creative and you have an outlier, like an outlier video that just does crazy, do you have like a specific process of how you will like analyze that video? Like, do you specifically actually like sit down and be like, okay, this is kind of what I think worked. We'll start to integrate this into like future creative or whatever we make.
Yeah, so like if a video worked, the number one thing is if the video worked, that means the hook was good. If the hook wasn't good, it wouldn't have took off in the first place. So first thing you're gonna want to like write down is the hook. It's like, okay, this hook worked. Let me use this hook again, or let me create a very like close iteration of this hook because something about this hook got this video to go viral. And then you study the other parts of the video. Like if it converted very well, then something about your delivery or something about the content aspect of the video was good too. And the good thing about videos on TikTok and stuff is you can pull the transcript. You can put it in Calo Data, pull the transcript, and kind of see everything. And let's say you have a winning video, you can pull the transcript of that video, throw it into ChatGPT, and have them write you a similar one. And then that's like an easy way to get another video up like very fast.
Yeah. This is a very tactical one, but what is the significance of like music on TikTok? I'll see people, I see this more on, I see it even on Instagram where like people would just put like a song to their video, but the song isn't even playing, but it's just because it's like it's like a trending song.
Yeah, so kind of like how TikTok boosts every post that has a product attached to it because they're really trying to push TikTok Shop out there. They'll boost posts with certain trending songs on it as well. They're not going to boost it as much as they do with TikTok Shop products because right now that's what they're pushing the most right now, which is why this is like a crazy opportunity. But if you do add a trending song to your video, you will get like a couple more views. And sometimes it's not significant because I think they've cracked down on it a little bit. But yeah, if there's a trending song, then all videos that have that trending song will get a little push on TikTok.
Okay, cool. So let's say, so in a given month, and let's say someone's consistent to it. So they're making like their 3 to 5 videos a day. One or two of those videos is going viral, and that's getting them to hit like the 10K month based off really the success of those 1 or 2 videos. What is the difference between the person that's making 10K a month and then the person that's making, say, 100,000, 200,000 a month? Like, what's the skill gap or the information gap between those two individuals?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to the person that's making 100K a month is really just making better videos. It's kind of like the YouTuber that's making 10K a month and the one that's making 100K a month. It's like the one that's making 100K a month, his videos are just better. It's that simple. And then on the lucrative thing with TikTok Shop though is once your videos start doing well and you start making, good commissions, brands will actually reach out to you on retainer deals because it makes sense for the brand to pay you rather than spend money on ads because they're paying you commission rather than risking money with Facebook ads and maybe not getting a return. So let's say you start posting some videos, you start making some money, a brand could reach out to you and be like, hey, make a video for my product. I'll pay you a $5 commission on everything you sell, and I'll pay you $500 or $1,000 a month to make 3 videos a week. So now you start building this retainer, and it's kind of like you have a content agency. It's like a one-man agency.
Yeah.
So like I've seen that a lot with like my students too, where they have brands reaching out to them, paying them to start making videos every week as well.
What do you think it means to be like, because you're basically saying they're just like a better creator, like they just make better content, and that's like the differentiator. But what do you think that means? Is that just like something which is intrinsic, like it's just built in you that you're, I don't know, maybe you're more charismatic on camera or whatever, or is it actually like a skill set that you can learn to become a better content creator?
Yeah, I mean, I think the skill set, it could be that you're a natural, like you said, you're charismatic on camera, your videos might just do well, but copywriting is a skill, and I think copywriting is important when it comes to video as well, because especially if you're creating AI generated videos, it's all going to come down to the script, because you're not going to be speaking in the video, you're going to have a voiceover, it's going to be images, but I've seen the AI generated videos produce a lot of money, like over 100K a month, and it's because the copywriting is really good, like it's written in like the Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson direct response style to where it's just a captivating video and people are able to convert. So I do think it's a skill that you can learn. And even if you're not as charismatic on video, if you have good hooks and you're able to keep people into the end of the video, you'll also be able to, have videos that convert as well.
Yeah. Um, I'm I know that it's kind of early with the TikTok shop stuff, but I think something that I was interested to know from kind of your vantage point is, are you seeing like creative ways of how people are starting to really scale this? And the AI thing kind of does come to mind, which is like, I guess most people they're just recording themselves doing the content and that's going out 3 to 5 times a day. But that's like a pretty heavy pace to like keep at. So are you seeing people that are starting to build like almost teams and I guess like businesses against this? Where yeah, like they're kind of involved in like a smaller part of it. They're not even doing the whole thing. It's kind of outsourced.
Yeah, I mean, I've started to see people kind of create UGC agencies where they have a bunch of creators that are all good at making videos on TikTok and they start selling like big retainer deals to certain brands. Like if it's a big brand, and you have a bunch of creators on your team, you could be like, yeah, we can get 20 videos out a week for you across all these different accounts. And we're proven to make good videos because we've earned X amount in commissions and we'll charge you 20K a month, 30K a month. And to a brand that was gonna spend 5K a day in Facebook ads, that's more incentivizing to them because it's like you're gonna be pushing out a lot of content for them and it's not gonna take that much views for them to make back their retainer if you guys actually do like what you said you were gonna do. So I've seen that a lot. I've seen a lot of UGC agencies start coming out.
Yeah. And it makes sense as well because I guess with the commission on like the brand side,
Yeah.
they're making like they're paying you when they're making money
Yeah.
from your
And the thing is, now they can take that video that you made if it does pop off and they can run it as an ad. And it's going to do good on paid media too.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I think will be like one of the obstacles? I was thinking about like what would people say which is like it's going to give them hesitation when it comes to doing the TikTok shop stuff. And one of the things we're hearing a lot in the news at the moment is fears of TikTok getting like shut down.
Right.
And so speak to that because I can see that giving people pause, which is like, I'm going to start this business or I'm going to start this side hustle doing this thing. And then TikTok could just get shut down. And then all of that work is kind of for nothing.
Yeah. So, well, personally, I don't think TikTok is going to get shut down because they're literally pumping $7 million into the US economy every single day. And they're creating millionaires left and right through affiliates, like I mentioned, and also through brand owners. Like some brands, they spend $0 on paid ads. They get on TikTok shop and they start making 7 figures, 8 figures just through creators promoting their stuff. So one, I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does happen, let's say it does happen, right? YouTube actually already dropped YouTube Shop. So TikTok Shop's actually been so successful and has made people so much money that YouTube already kind of copied them. And they literally dropped YouTube Shopping, which is going to be the same exact thing. It's going to be short form video. So it's going to be YouTube Shorts, but now you're able to tag a product on the video. And as a creator, you're able to make commissions off people that watch your video and end up buying that product that's tagged on your video. So literally it's the same exact business model. And I think it's going to be bigger than TikTok Shop actually because YouTube, one, is owned by Google, #1 search engine in the world. And they have billions of more users than TikTok.
Yeah.
So I think if you gain the skills of being able to make money as a TikTok Shop affiliate, those same exact skills transfer over to YouTube Shop. So you really should be doing both because YouTube Shop actually dropped last month. So you can already start making money on YouTube Shop too and be early.
Yeah. And you know, actually, my friend told me the same thing. He said that he actually thinks the YouTube shop opportunity will be bigger.
Yeah.
He said both of the reasons that you did. The other thing he said, I think YouTube announced they have some sort of partnership with Shopify. So like if a brand is on Shopify, then they'll be integrated into the YouTube shop experience.
Yeah.
So it will just be like a larger catalog of products.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think will be big with YouTube Shop too is because YouTube is owned by Google, the videos that you make will rank on Google. So you'll have SEO. So if you're selling a product that's trending that people are searching for, and you have videos about that product on YouTube Shop, someone might search for teeth white. Let's say there's a teeth whitening product going crazy on TikTok Shop and YouTube Shop. If someone searches for teeth whitening, it's going to be YouTube Shop videos popping up at the top of those search results. It's not going to be TikTok videos. Google's going to put their shit on the top.
Yeah.
So you're going to have that SEO advantage too, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah. You know, earlier in the conversation, one of the things you spoke about was this understanding of opportunity cost. And even when it comes to your success in like dropshipping and e-commerce and all this stuff, you mentioned it was like being early. And you've seen the process of like what it's like when you're early in something versus when it starts to get saturated.
Right.
And so can you kind of give more detail to what that is? You mentioned the thing about like, well, you just have to be better. Like what are some of the stuff that I want to make it really real for people that are like, I'll just like wait it out, you know, like I'll just see what happens with it. Like their perspective is like, I'm not going to start producing content yet. Like, let's see how it goes kind of thing. Let's see how it develops. For you though, it's like, you have an urgency and make it a priority that when it's early, like this is when I need to capitalize.
Right.
And so talk about like, what's the flip side of that? Like if you don't capitalize, how does it get harder? Like what is it that you've seen?
It just gets harder because people get better. And I'll explain it like this. So when I got into Shopify dropshipping, I was building my own website. I was making my own ads and I was making 6 figures a month. My ads, if you look at them, they look terrible compared to the ads now. And my website looks terrible compared to the websites that people build now. And it's because over time, competition entered and they made everything better. So it's like, if you got into Shopify dropshipping in 2018, you didn't have to have a good looking website. You didn't have to have a good looking ad to make money. But if you get into it now, because the bar has been risen so high, if you don't have a professional looking ad, if you don't have a professional looking website, if you don't have a professional product description, you can't even really compete. That's not to say that you can't make money, but it's just gotten harder because you have to be better in every aspect. It's going to happen the same with TikTok Shop. Right now, you could probably post a video on TikTok, not have you might not even have a good hook. You might not even have a good video, but because you have a TikTok Shop product attached to it that's going viral, TikTok will boost it. You'll get 1 million views and you might make some money. But as time goes on and people find out about this opportunity and they start to figure out that they can make a lot of money with this opportunity, videos are going to get better. People are going to start posting videos with crazy hooks, crazy value in the video, crazy call to action at the end. And your videos will just have to get better to be able to compete. So that's what I mean by like getting in early. When you get in early, it makes up for you actually having to be really good. You can still make a lot of money without having to be good. And as time goes on, you just have to be good to maintain what you're making or to make more.
Yeah. Now, sometimes speed beats skill.
Yeah.
And also like if you start early, you're also just more likely to be skilled because you would have just done the thing. By the time everyone else gets to it, you've done it so many times that now you're good.
Yeah, it's like if you think about like the NBA, like the first players that played in the NBA, they would not be in the league today. But because they were early, they made it to the league, but they weren't really that good compared to the players now because over time, the players got better.
You know what? Here's where I want to end. In the beginning, we spoke about kind of like the sense of responsibility that you that you felt at a really early age of like, my mum, my brothers, my family's in this predicament, and I'm gonna be the one that gets them out. Um, and even the quote you said, I remember my mum crying because she couldn't afford the bail, and the bail bond companies were gonna crush her with interest. I remember every year from 5 to 13 years old, switching schools and going from apartment to apartment with my mum and little brothers. I remember seeing my mum so stressed and feeling worthless because I could not do anything to help our situation. And, you know, it's funny because even before we start recording, right? Like we're talking um, about your life and like some of the things that are happening, like locations that you're in. And so it's now you kind of have like this ultimate autonomy over your life. I'm curious how you even compare those like different points in your life, like where you are now to where you were at that time where you didn't feel like really you had any control over what was going on. Like,
Yeah.
how does it feel to you now?
I mean, it's crazy looking back, but I would be lying to you if I said like I didn't deserve everything I have. And I think Charlie Munger has a quote that I really like. If y'all don't know who Charlie Munger is, that's Warren Buffett's like right-hand guy. He has a quote that goes, "The world is not yet a crazy enough place to reward a whole bunch of undeserving people." And I'm big on that. I'm big on like if you're not where you want to be, 9 times out of 10 is because you don't deserve to be there. And I went a full year making no money, dumping all of the money that I made from my 9 to 5 into this Shopify store and pretty much just burning it, just testing products that didn't work, but not really burning it because I was learning every time. Every time I would have a failed product, I was learning. And then all of my excess money that I would make from my business, I would dump it into education. And I learned, and I didn't get the 4 year college experience that everyone like looks up to getting and getting lit with their friends. Like I didn't have that. In those 4 years, I was grinding, trying to get this e-commerce business to work. And yeah, I went 4 years, didn't go to college, didn't experience that, missed out on that. But I gained the skills that I now have today that allows me to live the life that I live today. So when I look back, I'm like, dang, like that's such a dramatic change. But I also went through a dramatic period of my life of just work. Didn't talk to any friends for a year. Really, I didn't even talk to my family that much for a year because I was so locked into figuring this out because I knew what it could lead up to. And that 1 year of sacrifice changed my life. So it's a dramatic change from where I was to where I am now. But the work was put in, and I think it shows.
Yeah. I'm curious, what gives you like the most pride? I know even in like what we're building, like I'll have these like most of the time I'm just doing the thing, so you don't even reflect on it. But you do have these quiet moments sometimes like in between doing something
Yeah.
where you're just like, man, like I fucking did that. Like what are some of those moments for you?
For me, what gives me the most pride is I got into entrepreneurship for this. The sole reason I got into entrepreneurship was to buy my mom a house. And in 2021, I bought my mom a house cash. I bought her a car cash that same year. And really, like, if I were to die that year, like, that was like mission accomplished for me. That's all I ever wanted to do. So I get pride in being able to wake up every day and know that my mom is living good. Because that was like a big thing for me back then, where in the days that I was grinding, I would get up every day and kind of in the back of my head, I was like, dang, like, my mom's still struggling. Like, hopefully today I can make some money. Or like, hopefully today I figure out something. Like, hopefully today I have a breakthrough, kind of. And that was like every day. Every day I was like, dang, hopefully today I have a breakthrough. Hopefully today my product that I'm testing does well. And I kind of went a year, like 2 years thinking like that. And now, whether my business is doing good, whether my business is doing bad, the one thing that keeps me sane is like my family is good because of the work that I put in the past. If I don't make any money today, like it's okay because my mom has no mortgage. I know that she's chilling in that house. I know my brothers are there living good, chilling, having a good time. And that gives me sanity. So that's the biggest thing that gives me pride and like helps me sleep at night for sure.
Yeah. I'm curious, is it like surreal to them? Like especially to your mom? Like the what you've been able to do it, especially like at the age that you've been able to do it at, like is it surreal? Like is it crazy to them?
Yeah, no, it is crazy to my mom, just because she's from Nicaragua. Both my mom and my dad are from Nicaragua, so they don't really understand too much of what's going on as far as like the digital stuff that we do and the online stuff. So she kind of doesn't really understand what I do.
Mm.
I explain it to her all the time, but I'm sure she doesn't really understand what it is
Yeah.
or how e-commerce works or any of that. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to her, but she has seen me put in the work too, so she kind of understands. And I also work a lot. And whenever she calls me or texts me, like I'm always working, so she kind of understands, like, okay, like my son, he's a workaholic. Like he works 24/7, and that's probably why he's able to afford all these things that he does.
Yeah.
And then my brothers, they get it more because they're millennials. They're like Gen Z.
Yeah.
So they're more into like the TikTok wave and the Instagram waves. So to my little brothers, it actually makes a lot of sense. Like they understand what I'm doing.
Mm.
And I'm glad I'm able to be like that inspiration for them of, hey, you can go to college if you want to, and like if you want to be a lawyer, doctor, whatever, go for it, but just don't be brainwashed to think that that's the only way.
Mm.
So I've shown them both paths.
Yeah. And it's cool even just like reflecting on your story. You kind of had to find someone outside of your family and like the natural friends group to kind of be the inspiration or like the person that you saw as like the model of success. But now I guess like generationally, you're that person for your brothers. Like they don't need to go and find someone else. Like they can just see it.
Yeah.
Which is cool to be able to say. And I think one of the things, and I'm glad that you said it and you spoke about it, is like that season of sacrifice. Everyone that I've spoken to, and for myself personally, and it's usually a year. There's usually like a year that people can point to, which was like, I did not go out. I did not hang out with friends. I worked every weekend. I worked late nights. Like almost like the pelts on the wall, like them putting the shots up in the empty gym.
Yeah.
It's like certified. Like you can see it.
Yeah, it's crazy what like 1 year of just discipline can do.
Mm.
And sometimes it has me thinking like, damn, like what if I go another year like that? Could do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But like now it's just a lot harder because I'm not as hungry as I once was, to be honest.
It's what you said earlier though. It's like it's hard to mimic the hunger of like the desperation that you were feeling, right? Like what's that? There's that quote from a boxer. I think was it Mike Tyson? He was like, it's a lot harder to fight in silk pajamas.
Yeah.
Like when you start, like a lot of these people that get into fighting sports or boxing, it's survival to them, which is why they're so good at it.
Yeah.
But then once you start, you're making like tens of millions of dollars. It's like, why am I fighting this guy? Like I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But no, man, it's been a pleasure having you on.
I appreciate you, bro. Like
Thank you.
always.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on, man.
Pleasure.
You know, one thing I love about this podcast is that it's just us. No crazy investors, no crazy connections, no one putting us on. Just myself, my team, and an audience that resonates and loves the conversations that we have. And so if you like the content, if you enjoy the content, if you take value from the content, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything that we have going on. Thank you for listening.